Welcome to the Hell Clown Gate 3 guide. The video for this gate ended up being very long, so I encourage you to utilize the timestamps if you're already proficient with the basics. However, I tried to fit in nearly all the details that I myself know to make sure that after watching this guide, you will be deathless ready on the theoretical part. The video includes all phases of the fight, as well as every single Mario minigame in details, both inside and outside. And yes, as you might have guessed, for Deathless, Gate 3 is ranked by far the most challenging among the three gates. In Gate 3, the arena is surrounded by the Toy Flame Wall, and this wall actually does damage to you and gives you a stack of burning if you touch it. The boss is programmed to spin out when he's near the wall, to make the fight more comfortable. Battle items are the same as in the other two gates. Whirlwind can be used by some players instead of Dark if their stagger is weak, but this will be discussed later. Mario System. Mario mechanics are the main part of Gate 3 first phase. Aside from Mario minigames, there's only one more separate mechanic in the middle of the fight. There are 4 Mario minigames, commonly referred to as Mario 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each player will have to do one Mario minigame, and it's up to the group to decide who does which. The transition process is pretty much the same for all 4 Marios, so I will only explain it once. At certain HP bars, the boss will start the transition. The animation looks like this. A turret flamethrower will jump on the map, and it will have an insane amount of damage reduction, making it very difficult to kill. It is on purpose though. The goal is for one player to tank the flamethrower and max out their gauge, transforming into a clown. In a short amount of time, a portal will appear in the center of the map. If a clown player steps onto the portal, they will get teleported into their Mario minigame. Before moving on to the minigames themselves, let's finish up the details of what's happening outside. First important thing to know is that you want to have a significant amount of gauge ready before the transition starts, if you are the one to do the upcoming Mario. This is because it's very tight time-wise to gain 0 to 100% gauge from the flamethrower only. You want to have anywhere between 25 to 75% gauge, with the sweet spot being around 40%, so right before half. You can get gauge by tanking certain patterns, and also, to help you with this, the boss periodically summons 2 balls that periodically generate a circular field that gives gauge quickly if you stand inside. These balls have a timer bar on them, and they need to be killed before the timer expires. If you don't kill them, they will explode, which is bad. The timer is long though, so don't worry about it too early. There are multiple factors that you must take into consideration when thinking about ball management. First of all, the positioning. The balls are stationary, but their spawn location is somewhat random. If the balls do not overlap with the players and the boss, and you have full uptime without needing to stand in the ball, don't kill it too early. If the balls drop near the boss and interfere with your gameplay, let the next Mario player get some gauge and then kill balls. The second factor is timing. You want to kill balls before the actual Mario starts, because there will be a long downtime during which you will not be able to waste any time on balls. The reason why you want to leave the balls on the map for the Mario transition is because it's much easier for the player to max out their gauge from balls rather than tanking the turret. It requires less support care because the ball's aura doesn't do damage. When the player's already clowned, or you see that they are not trying to use balls, it is perfect time to kill them. Another factor is DPS. If your DPS is very low, which can easily happen during prog, you might see multiple sets of balls overlapping and being summoned before the next Mario transition. In such a case, kill the old balls, or even kill all of them, since by this time all players should already have enough gauge. The player who goes into the next Mario should also have some insignificant amount of gauge prepared in advance. Around 20 to 40% is fine. Before going into the portal, the clowned player should use Q on the turret and wait for the bomb to actually hit. This will remove the DR from the turret, and it needs to be quickly killed by the remaining players. Do not greed and actually kill the turret. It will be jumping around randomly if you don't, and there are many ways how it can either partially or fully ruin your pull. Also, the players who are not clowned should not touch the portal in the middle, as it pretty much instantly kills you by doing an insane amount of damage. Ideally, the boss needs to be taken away from the turret or the balls when the Mario player is trying to complete the gauge. If the aggro fix is on that player, it is unlucky, and the transition will be more difficult to execute, but still possible depending on what patterns the boss does. This is a highly skill-capped situation, and proficiency will come with time. If the aggro is on someone else, drag the boss away from the Mario player and let them enter the portal in peace. There are also hooks spawning either top right and going bottom left, or spawning top left and going bottom right. If you get hooked, you will get dragged all the way to where the hook's path ends, receiving massive damage in the process and ending up in the flame wall. Do not get hooked. There are gaps in these walls of hooks. Don't greed and find a way to dodge. You can also spacebar through them, but it's pretty tight. When you enter the portal, your Mario minigame starts right away. If you're not full HP before going in, tap your pot and quickly step or jump in with a spacebar. However, outside, the transition is delayed. First of all, there will be a colored mark assigned to one player. That is the color of the balls that the inside player will have to kill. It should be called out in chat. Please, for the love of God, do not assume that the inside player will see the debuff on the party layout and figure out the color themselves. Many people are playing on minimized party interface layouts, and they do not see any buffs and debuffs. The boss will do a few more patterns outside, which may take different amounts of time, but then the outside phase will begin as well. One random player out of the 3 remaining will get selected as a sacrifice, and will remain incapacitated in an Iron Maiden on the right side of the map. The other 2 players will have to get through an obstacle course on their way to the boss on the opposite side of the map, and complete the stagger check to cancel the big red saw that slowly approaches the trapped player. If not staggered in time, the saw will kill that player. It's a one-shot. Obstacle courses for different Marios are different, and I will cover them separately. You can use the built-in tool in Trixion to practice normal mode versions of all 4 Marios inside, to get a general idea of what's going on. However, the layouts of enemies and obstacles are different in Hell mode. With this, we can move on to each individual Mario. So when you get inside, you are clowned and you can move left and right with your arrow keys, and you can use Q and W. Q is a hammer attack, you will see it shortly, and W is a jump. So the first thing you need to do is to jump over this bomb, right? And then, as you can see also in the chat on the left, the last message is yellow, right? It says Y. It means that the color inside that I need to kill is yellow, because one of the players outside received the yellow mark above their heads. So you jump over the bomb, right? And then there's a saw, and you know, if you see the ball of your color, you should kill it whenever you're feeling comfortable to do so. So be careful, because the bomb has an explosion range, and you know, it can if it reaches you, you will get sent flying forward, and you will get basically sent into the saw in front of you. You need to jump over the saw by using your W key, right? And then there are multiple types of enemies in Mario's inside. Some of them are small, like this guy in front of me right here. He's gonna die in one hit. All of them will die in one hit. And you can also jump over them. So if I just press W here, I would be able to jump over him. But the problem is that there are these big guys, and also, if you can see, the big guy has this orange aura around him, like an orange outline. And the small guy doesn't have that. In some of the Marios, even small guys can have this aura, and what it basically means is that you can't jump over them, and their attacks will basically knock you back, right? So you can't jump over the big guy, and what you have to do is you have to bait his attack and then go back and dodge it. He has 2 types of attacks, and these are the only 2 types that all of these big guys will ever do. It's either this one that you see on the screen, he will just slam in front with a hammer very quickly and simply, or the other one is, let me see if he doesn't have enough time to do that. Well, I think the other guy at the end will do it. But anyway, you deal with the guy this way, and then you just go forward. You can also jump forward, that's faster a little bit. So for this ball right here, you need to, because like, if the ball hits you, it will displace you and you will fall down, right? So these edges where you see arrows, you can press G to go down or up, and you can't fall off. I'm pretty sure you can't fall off here. But if you fall off like here, you see that there is a hole in the floor, you will die, right? So you need to jump over these holes, but if you get hit by the jumping ball, you will get displaced and it will basically put you into the hole and you will die. So you need to jump with the intention to land right about when the ball is on the ground, right? So like you can see I'm landing here and the ball was just leaving the ground, right? So let's look at it once again. So basically the moment when I press jump is when the ball is basically on the ground, right? So when you are actually on the platform, the ball is still in the air. And then just make like 1 or 2 steps forward and quickly tap W again and jump over the other hole and just continue forward. So get up here, and what I usually do is I wait for the small guy to turn around to give me more space, right? Because he's going back and forth. And then I jump over the bomb and kill the guy, right? And then there are these jumping balls and the saws. There are 2 saws here. This one right here and this one right there. And they all move simultaneously. So what I usually do is I wait for the saw to be right below the jumping ball, and then in the same fashion as the first jumping ball, I jump over both of them basically when the ball leaves the ground. So basically you can see the ball is already like the animation is to go up, and this is the exact moment when I press my W. And I do it when the saw and the ball overlap. So I jump over both of them. And then here, if you need to kill one of these balls or both of them, you have the time to quickly kill the ball. And then do the same thing for the second jumping ball and the second saw. And then what I usually do is I wait for the small guy right here to reach the big guy, and I run up to them and try to hit both of them at once. So this time I didn't hit the big guy, but it usually succeeds. And then you can see this other animation. He's going to laugh like that and then spin. And this spin is going to launch you flying backwards. And basically if you get hit by that in this spot, you will get launched under the ball and it will hit you and you will receive massive damage from both of these things and you will probably just die. So the challenge is that there is a ball that the guy is standing on. And the problem is that, as you can see in this example, the ball is the wrong color. I already killed my yellow balls, and if I kill any other color ball, it will stun me when I kill it. But I need to kill the big guy because I can't jump over. So what I usually do is this. I'm basically trying to bait the attack, and when he's spinning, he kind of moves a little bit forward, so it makes it easier. Even if he does the other pattern, you can still kind of bait him out a little bit towards the jumping ball, and then turn around and try to hit max range, right? So I'm trying to hit him in a way that the attack hits the big guy, but doesn't hit the ball. And you can see that I do it, right? And then I just jump over and I go into the portal. If the guy is standing on the same color that you need to kill, it greatly simplifies the entire thing. You can just simply run up very close and hit it and kill both and deal with the big guy very easily. But if the color is wrong, you just saw what you need to do. So this is Mario 1 outside. It's gonna have only saws and no hooks. So we start on the right always, and your goal is to get all the way across the map to the left side where the boss is. So In Mario 1 Outside, the speed of different rows of these saws or different columns of these saws is going to be different sometimes. So sometimes this first one is like faster or slower, and the middle one is faster or slower. So basically what I usually do is I intentionally go like above the first saw like this, and then kind of go back to dodge the second one. And then in the middle here, I usually chill a little bit, right? And this saw can be either fast, like very fast. If it was fast, it would have been already like close to me here. In that case, you don't really have a lot of time to chill over here. But if it's slow, you have a lot of time to chill over here, and then you just dodge the other ones and it's done. Okay, so in Mario 2, the first thing that I want to point out is, as you can see, I have Sidereal, and this is not ideal because the best Sidereal usage is to drop Inanna basically as Mario 2 is happening. So you should probably not assign the Sidereal to someone who's doing second Mario. But regardless, so you jump over the first hole in the ground, and then there's this guy right here. Because he has this aura, his attacks will push you, right? If he hits you here, it will push you back and will fall down in the hole. So you need to basically jump over and immediately cast the attack. So you kill him faster than he hits you. It always works. Then you just kill these two guys, and the color that I need to kill is blue, so I ignore these balls. This rocket right here, it's random. It can spawn either on the top, like this, or at the bottom trajectory. The top trajectory doesn't hit you as long as you're on the ground. As you can see, it just passes me. But if it was the lower one, I would need to jump over it. In that case, by the way, you just want to wait for the rocket to basically reach about like I don't know, maybe it's slightly behind this red ball. Stand about here, jump over the rocket, and then jump over the hole. And then you jump over this flamethrower. If the flamethrower is active as you are approaching it, you can only jump over it when it's looking, you can see it's rotating. When it's looking basically perpendicular to your pathing trajectory. Like right here, I would be able to jump over it and it wouldn't do any damage to me. But if I tried to do it when it was facing this way or that way, it would do damage to me. So this guy is the same thing. His attack will push you into this hole, so you just jump and immediately hit the guy. And then there are these saws here. So the first one spawns faster, right? If you don't need to kill this ball inside, if it's like red, for example, in this case, then what I could have done is I could have quickly jumped over the saw as soon as I killed the guy. Like right here, I would just continue running and jump over this and immediately take this G, right? But because I have to stay and kill the ball, I have to wait for a bit and then jump over the second stall as well and then take the G key. The same flamethrower. And then right here is probably the most difficult part of the entire Mario. There are multiple small guys and a big guy, and there's also a rocket. And this rocket right here also has a chance to go either the top trajectory or the bottom trajectory. If it's top trajectory, it basically is pretty easy, and you just ignore it for the most part. If it's bottom trajectory, you will have to deal with it while also killing these mobs. So what I usually do is I run up very, very quick to them, and I try to go flawless up to this part, so I have full HP. In that case, if the guy is doing this simple attack animation that is faster, he hits me, but because I'm full HP, it doesn't matter, right? And I just finish him, and even if this rocket right here was lower trajectory, I would be able to just go back a little bit and jump over it, and then jump here, and then take the exit. But because it's the top one, I literally don't care about it. Sometimes though, when you're approaching this group of mobs, these small guys, they have like different pathing rates. So this like the red guy could have been like here, and the blue guy could have been like here. If you can't hit like all of them at once, it will take you longer to deal with the entire group. So you will have to turn around if the rocket is the lower. You will have to turn around at some point when you kill like both of the small mobs and maybe do like one attack to the big guy. You will have to turn around and jump over the rocket, right? Make sure that you lock the big guy into an attack animation and then run away. The rocket should pass him at this time, and then you jump over the rocket at a safe distance. He continues his pattern, he completes it. You run up to him, you kill him, you wait for another rocket that passes, jump over it about here, and then jump over the hole, and then take the exit. This is Mario 2 outside, and it's hooks only and no saws. This is probably the easiest one to do. So what I usually do is at the start of it, as soon as I regain the controls over my character, I immediately use a mobility skill, if I have any, right? You should probably not spacebar here, because the spacebar can save you when you actually see the hooks. You can spacebar through them. But if you have any mobility skills, you should probably start by using a mobility skill and just speeding up towards basically the bottom left, right? And then you will see the wall of hooks. And this wall of hooks will have openings in random locations. Sometimes an opening will be here, like in this case. Sometimes the opening will be here. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go through this opening. You can see in the second row of hooks, right? You can clearly see the opening. It's right here, right? And you're just supposed to go through it like that. There are also other hooks following you, so you need to kind of be quick on this, right? Another situation that can happen is as you're approaching these hooks, you will see that all of them are towards the top side, and the opening is going to be basically at the bottom. So in that case, you would have to go down, all the way down, and potentially even go into the flame wall and dodge the hooks at the bottom. You can also do that. And as you're approaching the boss, there will be this other wall of hooks from that direction, and it also has openings in random spots. So sometimes you have to kind of like go back a little bit and dodge the hooks, and then make like a little loop here, and then go back to the boss, and you're good to stagger. Okay, so Mario 3 Inside is pretty easy in Hell mode, unlike the normal mode. The main difference between normal mode, if you're practicing in Trixian, is that there is no rockets in Hell mode in Mario 3, so it just makes it a lot easier. The first obstacle is the same jumping ball and the same logic. You just press W when the ball is about to hit the ground, so when you land, the ball is in the air. And then you just tap W one more time and get over this. Then you get over the flamethrower. I need blue balls, so I kill the blue ball and jump up immediately. No rockets here. Bait out the small guys to make sure that you don't get stunned from this wrong color ball, if it's the case. And then there is the saw. Simple basic saw, just jump over it. This part is super easy. You just deal with the small guys and then you bait out the attack. And you can see that when I see that he's doing a longer laugh animation, right? Because again, he can do two patterns. One simple basic, just hit in front. It's faster. And the other one is this. He laughs and then spins. So I know that because I'm playing a class with some amount of swiftness, like 600, and I also have my yearning buffs still on from my sport. I know that I have enough time to kill him because I have enough time to hit him 3 times as he's doing the animation. So I just turned around and I just killed him. It's not necessary to do it, it's just an advanced thing. This TP is into the second part. It's not over yet. Be careful of these jumping balls because they kind of blend in with the environment here, and sometimes you just not notice them and you might get hit. And then you just continue forward. There's a saw here. You deal with the small guys, very easy. That flamethrower is harmless. Even if you have to kill this ball, you can do it from the safe range right over here. And then there is a bomb on this platform, so you need to pass it quickly, right? Because when you get close to it, sorry for that, when you get close to it, it activates, and you need to leave the platform before it explodes. And the problem is that this platform also has a bomb, and the 3 small guys are wandering around here. So the simplest thing to do, this is like the hardest part of the entire thing, because you might get killed here. Just, you know, sometimes it happens. But the simplest way to approach this is to just spam W and go past all the small guys and just press G. If they are overlapping on the exit, if you stop, you see how they immediately started hitting, right? If you stop and try to press G, you might get hit and it will stagger you and you will basically like die. So if they overlap on the exit, then either try to kill them, but be careful of this bomb. If you can get like past this bomb range explosion, which is right about this big, right? If you can stand like somewhere here and kill some of these guys, that's fine. Or you can also keep jumping over, jump over the exit, end up somewhere here, but be careful to not fall off the edge, and then turn around, kill the small guys, and then leave. But hopefully you will be able to just do what I did here. And also, there's another advanced tip that I have for you, is that when you are jumping with the W key, it's faster to regain controls if you tap some arrow keys after you jump, after you land. So you can see how here I landed and I don't have the G key pop up. And if you don't tap any arrow keys, at least it feels like it. If you don't tap any arrow keys, it will take longer for the G pop-up to appear. But what I do is I quickly tap left, right, and then I can exit. Okay, this one is Mario 3 Outside. This is probably the hardest outside part of all the 4. So what you're supposed to do is when it starts, you're supposed to, like, you can definitely navigate through all of this because it's both saws and hooks. There's less saws, and I think there's also less hooks, but it's both types. So you can definitely navigate through all of this in some kind of a sophisticated path, but it's very unstable and very difficult. So what people usually do is they go down a little bit, like over here, and they wait for the hooks to pass. And then they go, dodge the saws, and then they're good to stagger. The only problem with this is that if you're doing it this way, the stagger is going to be very tight because you're wasting a lot of time in the beginning. So you're definitely not supposed to hold anything on this stagger. Like you can even drop the awakening if you have to at the end of your stagger rotation. And this is also why some groups, some people sometimes will take Whirlwind instead of Dark. It's kind of a waste overall, but it can definitely help at this part of the fight. Okay, so this is Mario 4, and it's not that hard, but it's just complicated in the sense that you need to make a correct decision at a certain point in your run. But this is a very like simple logic. However, I would still certainly recommend that whoever does this Mario has some amount of swiftness in their build. So like Knight's Edge Soul Eaters and stuff like that, or full swiftness classes, all of them are going to be very, very easy to do M4 with. So you just jump over that flamethrower, and the ball that I need to kill is blue, right? So I kill the blue ball, and then if you see a blue ball right like here, you can go up, right? And you also need to know that when you go up with the G key, you can also take it at the top to go down as well, right? In any of the Marios, in any place where these things exist. So I'm basically looking at the entire plane, at the entire field, and I'm trying to see where the blue balls are, because I need the blue balls, right? And I saw one blue ball here, and I see that there is one more right there at the top, and there's like 3 different planes, or I think even more than 3. You will see that shortly. But I'm just trying to identify where the blue balls are. So I see one more over here and one more over there. And I also see one more near the exit. So in this run, I actually make a mistake. Because right here, what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to jump up if you see a ball right here that you can kill, or this one. But if the big guy is standing on a wrong ball, like in this case, you're supposed to turn around and go that way, right? Like when I took this G key up, I can kill this blue ball, go turn around, go backwards, take the G key down, and continue basically this way. And you can see why, because this is a big guy and he's not standing on any ball. I can just kill him. It's much easier to deal with when he's not standing on a ball. And this guy never stands on a ball. And this guy on this platform always stands on some ball. And this ball can either be your color or the wrong color. If it's your color, you're supposed to keep going this way, right? And it's going to be super easy to kill him. But I make a mistake because I haven't played this raid for a while in this footage. And I just keep going. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bait his attack, and then I just get stunned and, you know. But I got lucky because the first pattern that he did was the simple one. So they always alternate. If it takes you long to kill the big guy, he will alternate the patterns. So if he does one, he will do the next will be the other one. Right? And so because the animation is long, it allows me to basically survive. And then I kill him, but I get stunned with this rocket. But I also get lucky because the small mobs are not close enough. And then what I do is I see that if I stayed there and I killed the small guy, I would have gotten hit by the rocket and I would have died. So I know I can't do that because I'm 1 HP. So I run backwards, overlap the small guy and the rocket together, and jump over both at the same time. And then I killed this blue ball, but I didn't have to because at the end of this path, there is one more blue ball that I saw from the very beginning. And I just ignore it here, and basically it's done. So the main idea is that when you start, as you're running up, you're supposed to look at the map and see where the balls are of your color. In Mario 4, there are more than 3 balls of each color, right? Or actually, I don't know, maybe only your color, but you will always see like one more ball. I think it's always 4, yeah. You will always see 4 balls of your color. And in that case, it's up to you to choose. So the idea is that if you can go up, you should only go up if you see an accessible ball that you need to kill, right? So right here, I would have gone up if this ball was blue. And since it's not, then I'm just continuing forward. What I guess what I also could have done is I could have jumped up here, killed this big guy because he's not standing on any ball either, and it's easier to deal with, right? And then jumped up there, killed this ball, and then jumped up there, and then killed the last ball at the end. But what I usually do is I keep going forward here, and then on the second jump up, right, I usually go up, kill my ball, whichever one it is, and then I go back down and I continue that way. That's what I usually do. But yeah, there are multiple ways how you can do Mario 4, and basically the main idea is when this guy is standing on a wrong color ball, you should not go this way. You can only go up to here, kill this ball if you can, and then go back and continue forward. That's the main idea. Okay, so this is Mario 4 outside, and for this one, sadly, I only have the footage of me being trapped. But it's not that big of a deal. I will just explain you what happened. So it's hooks and the saws, but there are very, very few saws. There's basically like 2 saws, and both of them are kind of also in the middle. So what you're supposed to do is, as you can see, people often type where they will go, either top or bottom, and you're supposed to split, and you're supposed to go one person top and one person bottom, right? And when you go bottom, there are going to be like hooks, and you're supposed to either find an opening in them or spacebar through them. Generally, I found that going top is easier than going bottom, because in the bottom you often have to spacebar through hooks, and it's kind of tight. But sometimes the top is also not that easy. This is also a good place where you can use a time stop if you're doing like Deathless, because if you time stop in front of hooks, they will just pass you and not do anything to you, right? So if you're going top, you're supposed to dodge these hooks that are coming from the right first, and then dodge the hooks that are coming from the left, and then find an opening and quickly go forward. And you can see these 2 saws, right? One of them is at the top, and the other one is at the bottom. When you reach the boss, there will be like 2 levers on each side of the boss, at the top and at the bottom. And when you approach the levers, you need to stand on them, and you will have a mini game pop up. The type the key mini game. Like, you will have to press different keys in different orders. You need to complete that mini game quickly, regain controls over your character, and pull the lever. And the top player does it for the top lever, the bottom player does it for the bottom lever. When you pull the lever, the saw disappears, right? The bottom saw already disappeared, the top saw is going to disappear. You can see that these gray saws are faster than the red saw. So if you fail to pull in time, the gray saw will kill me a lot faster than the red one even reaches me. But, oh yeah, actually this pull it failed. So, yeah, I just died basically, because the guy forgot to pull the lever. And, yeah, but after you pull the lever, like, the reason why you pull the lever is both because the saws are disappearing then, and you have more time to stagger, but also, if you don't pull the lever, the boss will have a huge stagger reduction. So your stagger skills will be doing basically like no stagger. The only way to do enough stagger with one or both levers non-pulled is by using Way. Way will just one-shot the stagger, but you also need to pull at least one lever, I think, for it. I think you need to pull at least one lever for it to work. Between the second and the third Mario minigames, there is a different mechanic called ShowTime. The boss will get DR at approximately 90 bars and teleport to the middle. All players should go 6 o'clock. With a short delay, the boss will start firing guns starting at 6 and then rotating. So supports must DR and everyone should group up, or else you will all die. Then the boss will continue firing, rotating around. Wait for a little bit and then spread to far left, far right, and close right. The boss will soon lock a big telegraph on one of the players. Remember who that was. Also, some players will get targets above their heads. Bombs will be dropping on these players, so don't get hit. Keep moving and dodge the yellow telegraphs, bombs, and the big lock-on telegraph. Then, as the final inner yellow telegraph goes off, go towards the boss and stand either on his back or front, whichever is the closest to you. But don't hug him, stay a bit away. At this point, the entire team should already have the support awakening shield. Support can use Awakening as the last outer telegraph is exploding. Just make sure you're not standing in any bomb drops. The boss will spread his arms to the sides and start rotating while firing the guns. Dodge by rotating with the boss. The outer telegraph continues to explode. When it explodes for the 4th time, the boss will immediately change direction. A bomb will be dropped on a random direction shortly. The boss will do a lock-on telegraph again onto the same player as the first time. This player should direct the telegraph at the bomb and dodge out when it locks. This way the boss will destroy the bomb. If the telegraph misses the bomb, it's a wipe. The same thing will happen again, and the second bomb will be spawned on the opposite side of the first one. Repeat the process. If you're not sure who's being targeted by the telegraph, and even if you are to be honest, it's still a good practice for all players to group towards the bomb's direction to avoid a stupid way of wiping. After that, dodge a few more yellow telegraphs and group at 6 o'clock right about here. If you see any flame poops on the ground, don't worry about them, they will disappear. Even if not, it's not that big of a deal. The standard approach is to run clockwise. 4 big projectiles will spawn in the middle and track 1 player each. If it reaches you, it's a one-shot. Your goal is to outrun the projectile. Everyone should be moving together clockwise using spacebar and mobility skills as applicable, due to the mismatch of movement speeds of different classes. If you're speeding up, gravitate towards the middle. If you're going slow, stay towards the edge. Yellow rectangular telegraphs will also spawn. Dodge them as you go. Don't panic and don't try to split away from the group. If a yellow telegraph spawns on your way and it's obvious that you won't be able to outrun it normally, then everyone spacebar. Don't waste your spacebar too early in case if this happens. Approximately as you're reaching 1 o'clock, the mechanic will end. After Mario 4 is completed, you will just bring the boss to 0 HP, and the main phase ends here. Before moving on to Bingo, let's discuss the Sidereal usage. The best way to use Sidereals is to drop Inanna either right before Mario 2 outside starts, or after you stagger the boss. Another option is to drop it during ShowTime, which is less recommended. The reason why you want to drop Inanna is because it will cleanse the clown stacks on the boss. Normally, these stacks are not super important and only decrease the damage you do to the boss insignificantly, but they also participate in a special pattern that will be discussed later. When you're dropping Inanna, make sure that the boss is inside the AoE as she spawns. The reason why it's not recommended during ShowTime is because it cleanses the gauge as well. Mario 3 often happens right after ShowTime, so if Mario 3 player has an empty gauge, it might be problematic. There are workarounds for it, but you will figure them out as you play more. ShowTime should be easy enough to complete without Inanna though. After that, if you still have Sidereal gauge up before the boss is dead, you can use Nineveh to push faster, or you can use Way during Mario 4 stagger to avoid any potential issues with the tighter timing. Use something before the main phase ends though, because you will immediately get the entire gauge refunded as soon as Bingo starts. You can also use Nineveh to one-shot the flamethrower turret that gets summoned during Mario transitions, if the DR was not removed from it. In this case, try to hit both the turret and the boss by aiming correctly. You will fight the boss on a different map. It's like a chessboard. Initially, one random tile somewhere in the middle will turn into a special tile, with a clown icon. 2 other tiles will turn into skulls. If you stand on any skull or special tile, you will take continuous damage and gauge. Don't stand on them unless absolutely necessary. The boss will perform a lot of the same patterns as during the main phase, but he will be a lot more passive overall, and the delays between patterns will be larger. Also, some attacks, for example the Fear Laser, change to simplified versions. The Fear Laser just goes straight instead of 180 degrees. The Bingo phase is divided into rounds. Each round, 3 bombs will be dropped. The bombs are dropped at a random targeted player. When the target timer expires, the bomb will drop on a tile that the player was standing on. The bomb drop itself is harmless and doesn't do anything to you, but the bomb will explode shortly after, turning tiles around it into skulls. Each bomb will turn the tile it was dropped on, as well as every tile that directly shares an edge with that one. So up to 5 tiles in a cross shape. If any bomb affects the special tile, it's a wipe. You must not drop bombs in a way that the special tile is affected. Skull tiles can share edges with it though, that is fine. Skull tiles can be white or red. White skull tiles are flexible, and red ones are fixed. If you drop another bomb and its explosion affects a white skull tile, it will flip it back to normal. Red skull tiles won't be affected and will remain skulls. Once more, each round of bingo is 3 bombs. Your goal is to end each round by making a line of 5 skulls. That is, the third bomb must produce an explosion that completes a line of 5 skulls, either red or white. That is called getting a bingo. When the line connects, the skulls turn into red ones. You can also drop bombs on skull tiles directly. This can be used to clean up the board. However, if a player who has the bomb target touches a skull tile, they will immediately get stunned and will have to do a tight spacebar minigame to regain controls. And if you're not using any spacebar macros, by the time you complete it, you will already be clowned. If you need to drop a bomb deep into a cluster of skulls, get as close to the edge as possible and spacebar into it. During each round, hammers will swing at random rows and columns of the grid. The telegraphs are heavily delayed, so pay attention. Stay away from the line of impact until the hammer actually passes. Be very aware of this. Getting hit by a hammer is a one-shot. At the end of each round, the boss will teleport to 12 o'clock and charge up a wipe attack. The stagger bar is fake. This is a free DPS window. If you succeed at getting a bingo with the third bomb, the boss will eventually get stunned and the fight will continue, starting the next round. If you didn't succeed at getting a bingo with the third bomb, the only 2 ways to survive are either to kill the boss faster than the explosion happens, which is only applicable when the boss is already at very low HP, or to use the Inanna Sidereal skill. It is recommended to always keep Sidereal gauge until you are 100% sure that Nineveh will kill the boss, in case you messed up with bingos and need Inanna to survive. Inanna can only save you once though. In this fashion, your goal is to bring the boss to 0 bars, at which point the raid will end. Depending on your party's overall DPS, it might take less or more rounds. Your goal is to keep the board clean of skulls as much as possible by dropping bombs in a way that they clean up white skulls, but remembering to end each round with a bingo. This is not that easy in Hell mode. What usually happens is the board quickly gets messy and people start bizzing. The DPS slows down and people eventually die. In most cases, people are using a bingo calculator on their second monitor or phone. In Deathless, often there's a 5th person in the voice call who does the bingo calculations for the group. The link to this tool will be in the description. You should select Assistant Mode and Inferno, then place the special tile and the 2 initial skulls. After this, it will show you the 3 most optimal bomb placements for the next bomb. Number 1 is the best and number 3 is the worst. You should try to drop bombs at one of these spots. Even if you can't do that and you end up dropping the bomb elsewhere, you should still update the calculator by clicking where the bomb was dropped to spawn the next 3 suggestions. When you bring the boss to 0 HP, that's the end of the raid. Congratulations. His normal patterns are mostly the same as in Gate 1 with some additions or enhanced versions. Let me cover the difference. Backflip Teleport. He will drop 2 bombs instead of 1 before landing. Bart adds a full circle variation. Vomit, a new pattern. He will do the same animation as for the spin away flamethrower, but he has a chance to split in 4 before spinning away. If he doesn't, it's gonna be the normal spin away flamethrower, but if he does, the real one will start vomiting towards aggro. If you get hit by this vomit, you will get the circular mayhem aura as well as some gauge. This pattern doesn't do very high damage, so you can strategically use it for gauge management. To elaborate, if player A needs gauge, either of the players B, C, or D need to get hit to receive aura and hug player A, but the player A themselves do not need to get hit by the vomit. To elaborate further, remember that there are plenty of these creative ways of meter gain. I have seen surprisingly many people who would try to dodge me intentionally bizzing on them during their Mario transition as they were trying to get the gauge from other sources simultaneously. Targeted 4-side telegraphs has a chance to split in 2. Both the real one and the clone will have their own 4-side telegraphs. Could be locked onto 2 different players or the same one. For both of these patterns, the way to figure out where the real one is the same as in Gate 1. An important note on birds. This is pretty much the main reason to use time stop over atropine in Deathless pools. During Mario transitions, when one player is trying to max out gauge, and the 3 other players are dragging the boss away, the situation almost always becomes very chaotic. If the boss does birds during this, you should try to aggro the boss to teleport in a spot that is comfortable for everyone. However, this is highly unstable. Therefore, one player should jump in front of the boss right after he appears and press time stop, blocking all the birds and preventing them from spreading around the entire map. The rainbow laser pattern can have 2 extra iterations after the second one. It will be at a 45-degree angle from the left and from the right relative to the boss's orientation. Red or yellow ball spinback will have a chance of him faking the first landing spot, after which he will quickly select a new one, but it can only happen one time. There are also some completely new patterns. Albion, timed pattern. You will see it towards the second half of the fight. He will say, "I smell the mayhem flowing in the air," lift his cane up slowly, and do a cross-shaped attack. This attack does high damage with a potential to one-shot squishy classes. Then he disappears from the map and starts targeting a player. The player who gets targeted is not completely random. His attacks during this pattern leave a visible burnt trail on the ground. The last person to leave the burnt area will be the next target. Then, the boss will attack the target 2 times by striking from above quickly in a fan-shaped attack. To dodge it, you either need to use spacebar or mobility skills to outrun it, or just simply run forward until the boss appears above your head, and then immediately turn backwards. The third attack is a big yellow telegraph that ideally needs to be dropped in the middle of the map. The aggro is dynamic. You can take away the aggro by hugging the burnt spot after each attack. HP Reverse Curse. This is a timed pattern that has a lower precedence order than the major mechanics, and it can be skipped with high DPS. He will give random players a curse debuff, which after expiring reverses the HP based on the current versus missing percent. It basically leaves you at the exact amount of HP as how much you were missing right before the expiration. Your goal is to take some damage. You can even use this pattern to heal up if you drop low enough, but this is not recommended during prog. The safest way is to get to around half HP, and that way you will stay at half, and then you just pot up. There's a chance to not get the curse when it happens, so pay attention. Sometimes people make a mistake of getting low and then realizing that they didn't get cursed. Scary Clown Face. This pattern is tied to HP reverse. Every second HP reverse, this pattern will happen. So the first time HP reverse happens, it won't happen, but the next time, it will, and then the count resets. At the end of the curse timer, he will teleport to the middle and fully silence all the player shortly after, which means that you won't be able to use skills and battle items. Then, he will perform a number of unavoidable attacks based on the count of stacks of clowning buff on him. This is why it's important to cleanse these stacks with Inanna. These attacks hit map wide and you cannot avoid the damage. The only thing that can and should be done is, right before the silence is applied, everyone should gather in the middle and support should use an appropriate amount of shielding and DR based on the current HP of the team and the number of stacks, up to even using Awakening if necessary. This is a good incentive to do high DPS, because if you do, you won't see this special pattern at all. And the lower your DPS is, the more dangerous this pattern becomes long term. Clapping Saws. A rare random pattern that has a chance of not happening at all. He will teleport in a random place on the map and clap like in the Simon Says mechanic in Gate 1. Saws will be spawning on the edges of the arena in random spots. These saws are one shot as well. Some of them are quicker, some are slower. Dodge the saws. You should try to gravitate towards the center because if you're on the edge, a saw could spawn right on top of you, not giving you any time to react. After some time, while the saws are still on the ground, he will end the pattern by doing the same yellow telegraph jump as in red and yellow ball spin back. Do not try to jump in to dodge the waves, just run away far, because in most cases the landing spot will be still surrounded by saws. Wait for all saws to disappear and then continue the fight. The boss is available to hit the entire time during the pattern when he's still on the ground. When the pattern begins, drop the last skill or two and then switch to full focus on dodging. Optionally, you can press Alt-X 3 times quickly to get rid of the UI for better visibility. Press Alt-X once more to bring the UI back later. Spin away Electrocution. He will spin away and shock in front. Hugging him at the front is safe. Medusa. This pattern will only be happening during the bingo stage. He will teleport somewhere, and after a short delay, he will do the Medusa effect in front of himself. If you're staying in the front, you must look away. If you're at his back attack angle, you can still be looking at him.